All right, it is 7 p.m. and I'd like to call this meeting to order. While this meeting is being held in person, we are also offering the option for the public to participate through Zoom if preferred. Instructions on how to participate virtually are included in the City Council calendar item listed on the front page of missionks.org. Please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Robin, please call the roll.
Hayden Chomposi,
Here.
Boltinghouse,
Here.
Loudon, here, Ryard, here, Pring, here, Schmidt,
Here.
Carpenter Davis,
Here. All right, we do not have any public hearings this evening, so we will move into our special presentations. We have 3 special presentations tonight. Our first is a presentation from BT&Co on the 2023 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. Laura, will you please introduce our guests, or is Justin taking this one?
Thank you. All right. Well, I think the easiest summation of the audit is no news is good news. So nice and boring. We will take it. Real quickly, I just wanted to give a shout out to Christine and the rest of the team for putting this thing to bed and everything like that, since it was kind of hers and I's first time going through it with the city and mostly without a hitch. Well, knock on wood. And so with that, I will turn it over to BT&Co. We've got Stacy Hammond and Trey Shelton both here for on their behalf.
Great.
All right, thank you. I almost feel like we don't need to present now. The audit's been so nicely summarized, but since we have written comments, we will do a little bit of talking. Good evening, everyone. I'm Stacy Hammond, the partner at BT&Co on the city's financial statement audit. And with me tonight is Trey Shelton, the manager on the audit engagement. I think all of you have received 3 documents from us, a copy of the audited financial statements, a report addressed to the mayor and city council, and then an examination engagement related to the city's federal expenditures. I'm going to talk a little bit about the results of the city's financial statement audit, and then Trey is going to talk about the examination engagement. So I'm going to go ahead and get started by talking about our responsibilities in performing the city's audit. If you'd like to open up that report to the mayor and city council, it really forms the basis of our presentation tonight. And on page 1, we talk a little bit about our responsibilities. We did perform the city's audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards, government auditing standards set forth by the Comptroller General of the United States, and standards in the Kansas Municipal Audit and Accounting Guide. Those standards require us to perform procedures in order to obtain reasonable assurance that the city's financial statements are free from material misstatement. As far as the procedures that we performed, we did examine on a test basis evidence supporting the amounts and disclosures in the financial statements. We also reviewed the accounting principles used by management and the significant estimates made by management, as well as evaluating the overall financial statement presentation. Probably the most important thing that we'll be telling you this evening is that as a result of performing those procedures, we did determine that the city's financial statements are presented fairly in all material respects in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. Therefore, we issued what we call an unmodified audit opinion, and that is the best kind of opinion that the city can receive. Moving on to the accounting policies and practices section of the report. Here we would let you know about any changes in accounting principles that management might have used, adoption of new accounting standards, significant or unusual transactions, or significant estimates. There's one area that we need to report on this year in this section, and that is significant estimates. The city does have several significant estimates, and I think they are summarized on page 5 of this report, and they haven't changed since last year. They are the city's other post-employment benefit liability and also the city's net pension liability that results from its participation in CAPERS. Our responsibility as auditors is to make sure that management of the city has a reasonable process in place to measure and report each of these accounting estimates. And we were able to determine for each estimate that management did have such a process in place. And that's what we're concluding in the basis for our conclusion on the reasonableness of estimate line item next to each of those significant accounting estimates. If you flip back to page 2 of the report, there's a section titled Audit Adjustments. There were several audit adjustments that we recorded to the trial balance that was presented to us to begin our audit. Just as in previous years, those entries were to convert from the cash basis of accounting, which the city operates on throughout the year, to the modified accrual and accrual basis of accounting that the city reports on for financial statement reporting purposes and are in your audited financial statements. Those journal entries are summarized at the end of your packet so that you can see what entries we did make. There is a section in this report titled Observations about the Audit Process, where we would bring to your attention anything bad that might have happened during the audit. If we'd had any significant difficulties performing the audit, any significant disagreements with management, consultations, anything like that. I'm happy to report that there's nothing in any of those areas that we need to report tonight. Management of the city was extremely cooperative throughout the entire audit process and very transparent in answering the numerous questions that we had. If you flip past page 5 in the report, you're going to see a letter that's addressed to BT&Co that's several pages long, and it's on City of Mission's letterhead. It has a bunch of numbered items on it, and we call that management's representation letter. That letter really puts into writing everything that the management of the city represented to us throughout the course of the audit. When the city signs that letter and gives it back to us, it's this kind of the signal that the audit's ready to be completed. We'd like to include that in your packet so that you can see what was represented to us. We also think it helps you to fulfill your fiduciary responsibilities in being able to read that letter. Right now, I'm going to turn it over to Trey to talk a little bit about the examination engagement.
Good evening. As Stacy mentioned, I'm going to cover the results of the examination engagement. This examination engagement covered the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds grant program that the city had. We conducted this in accordance with the attestation standards established by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. An alternative, this examination engagement was performed to examine the city's compliance with requirements set out in the Office of Management and Budget's compliance supplement as related to this grant program.
It's an amber.
Yeah, it's the beeping is an Amber Alert, everyone.
Okay, so ultimately, management is responsible for the compliance and internal controls over compliance related to their federal statutes and regulations and the terms and conditions of any federal awards that they have. Whereas our responsibility as the auditors is to express an opinion on the city's compliance for those specific requirements related to this program. As a result of our examination, I'm pleased to report that we determined that the city has complied in all material respects for the specific compliance requirements related to the Coronavirus State and Local Fiscal Recovery Grant Program. And we additionally did not identify any deficiencies that we would consider as material weaknesses or significant deficiencies. So before I open it up to questions, I again also want to thank Christine and her staff, as well as management of the city, for all the help they had throughout the audit. It was a smooth process, and without their help, we wouldn't be able to get through it. So thank you. Any questions?
Any questions for our auditor team? I don't think so. Thank you. Yeah, thank you all.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Okay, our second presentation tonight is a proclamation declaring July as Parks and Recreation Month. Parks and Recreation are vitally important to establishing and maintaining the quality of life in our community, ensuring the health of all citizens, and contributing to the economic and environmental well-being of our community and region. Parks and recreation programs build healthy, active communities and increase the community's economic prosperity. So as we proclaim this as Parks and Recreation Month, I encourage all of you to get out and enjoy our many facilities, parks, and programs, and thank Director Almany and his staff for their important work. Penn, would you and any members of your staff present want to come forward and receive the proclamation?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Right, everybody, 3, 2, 1. Perfect.
All right, our third presentation tonight is also with PINS. It is the introduction of our new Powell Community Center Business Manager.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council. It's my pleasure to introduce Bryan LeRette as our Powell Community Center Business Manager. Bryan, you join me up here. So he is the newest addition to our full-time Parks and Recreation team. Bryan comes to us with a myriad of experience digging in, gathering data and analyzing that, and then translating that into actionable marketing and business plans. So we're excited to share with him our business and feasibility study plan and have him help us reach those goals within it. So he's actually a resident of Mission. And with that, has been a Powell Community Center member and participated in events and programs over the last few years. So that passion and commitment to Mission runs deep. So Bryan, do you have any comments you'd like to share?
Yep. So hello and good evening, everyone. As mentioned, I'm Bryan LeRette. And so my family and I have been residents of Mission since 2017, kind of been on and off again members, of Sylvester Powell, beautiful facility. Kind of really view it as, the beating heart, of the neighborhood and surrounding communities. So basically, I'm really excited to have this opportunity, go around, further its mission, better serve our residents, patrons, visitors, as well as the staff, who help support all those folks. So again, I'm happy to be here and thank you for having me.
Great, welcome. Thank you. And finally, this evening, we have one more special presentation that was not included on our agenda. Laura, will you please come forward and share the secret surprise? with
Yes,
council?
thank you, Mayor. I think tonight, I would just like to say that as we've all witnessed kind of the decline in traditional print media over the last 20 plus years, local government issues, particularly those for smaller cities like Mission, often get lost in the shuffle. But since 2010, there has been an online-only publication that has stepped in and really stepped up to provide community news in Johnson County. Originally founded as the Prairie Village Post, now the Johnson County Post, they reach approximately 200,000 users each month, which is pretty amazing. They have truly dedicated themselves to a reader-first approach, working to deliver straightforward, easy-to-read, truly local coverage. I did steal all of those taglines from their website. That allows users to catch up on information in about 5 minutes a day. It is a service that we shouldn't take for granted, either as consumers of the information or as a local government seeking ways to connect with residents and businesses. We owe them a continued debt of gratitude. You all may have seen recently that the Kansas Press Association honored Post reporter Juliana Garcia at its annual Awards of Excellence ceremony for her reporting on the controversies surrounding Prairie Village's housing and rezoning policies. Juliana beat out reporters from some of the biggest newspapers across the state to take first place in the government and political story category. We are very fortunate to have Juliana covering Mission, and we wanted to take a few minutes this evening to congratulate her personally and to recognize this outstanding achievement. Juliana, while there are oftentimes we would prefer not to be in the news, I think I can speak for both the governing body and the staff in saying that we sincerely appreciate the time and effort and thoughtfulness that you and energy that you put into your reporting. You do the homework, you ask the questions, you're fair and balanced in your presentation, and we wish you much continued success. So with that, we just have a small token for you.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. I was obviously not expecting this tonight. I didn't know what to expect. I knew there was something going on when you asked me last week. I didn't know what it was going to be. I also don't speak in front of governing bodies very often. I'm normally in the crowd. But thank you so much for recognizing my work in the area. I really appreciate it. Mission was one of the first cities that I started reporting on when I started at the Post, so always holds a special place in my heart. So
Thank you all. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
And Juliana, I just wanted to add, I think I've been on the governing body the whole time that you've been a reporter with the Post, and it's just been so exciting to get to see your growth as a reporter. And I think, the work that you and the Post are doing is really critical, as society sort of departs from a shared factual understanding of what's going on sometimes. I think the local reporting can really bring it back in and show people the issues that matter, first and foremost in their community. And we really appreciate you. All right, we do not have any items related to the issuance of notes or bonds this evening, so we'll move on to our consent agenda. Our consent agenda has 3 items tonight. Our council committees met on July 10th and fully discussed each of these items. The committees agreed that the items listed on our consent agenda are routine enough to be considered under a single motion. If a council member or member of the public would like an item removed from the consent agenda, they may request that at this time. If not, I would entertain a motion to approve.
Mayor, I move that City Council adopt the consent agenda as printed, items 4A through 4C.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, Robin, please call the vote.
Loudon.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Boltinghouse.
Aye.
Hayden Champosi.
Aye.
Carpenter.
Aye.
Davis, Pring.
Aye.
Ryard.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, next we will move into public comments. If any members of the public would like to make a comment on an item not included on our agenda this evening, now would be the time. If you are participating through Zoom, please either add your comment in the chat feature and it will be read out loud, or note that you would like to speak and we will call on you shortly to make your comment verbally. Please remember your comments or questions are visible to everyone in the meeting. If you are part of our in-person group tonight, please raise your hand but stay seated and we will call on you to come to the lectern to make your comments. When you make your comment, please state your name and city of residence for the record. Also be conscientious of others trying to speak and speak slowly and clearly. If I need to confirm something that may have been difficult to hear, I will ask for clarification. Justin, do we have anything online? Seeing no audience hands, we will move into our action items. So we do have one item coming forward from the Planning Commission this evening for consideration of a special use permit for signage at the lanes at Mission Bowl. Carrie, will you please provide your report?
Thank you, Mayor. This is going to be a special use permit for the Lanes and Mission Bowl sign package case 2411. There's not much really to say about this. I won't really go at length. But I just did want to note just one thing here, which is why we're here and why there's a special use permit for this sign package. Typically, we would have a sign package for a big development like this submitted with a final development plan, but they weren't ready for that at the time that it was submitted as a final development plan. So we do have a provision in the code for a special use permit in that case. There are, several signs in this package, I think 16 in total, that are part of your packet that you will have been able to review. If you have any questions about that after this, let me know. But that section of the code is 430.100 for the special use permit. There's a couple stipulations under there, just that the underlying zoning district is usually what we would look at for what is allowed in the code. But in this case, MXD doesn't have much to say about signs. So it's basically up to you about whether it fits the context and whether it is appropriate for this area. The Planning Commission did recommend this SUP, and now it's up to you for a vote. And that's really all I had to say about that one.
All right, thank you. Is there any member of the public who would like to comment on the sign permit issue? Seeing none, we'll open the floor for council discussion. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion on the preliminary development plan for a special use permit, on the motion for the special use permit for the sign package for the lanes at Mission Bowl.
Mayor, I move the city council approve a special use permit for the sign package for the lanes at Mission Bowl, 5399 Martway in Mission, Kansas.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Robin, please call the roll.
Hayden Champosi.
Aye.
Ryard.
Aye.
Loudon.
Aye.
Boltinghouse.
Aye.
Carpenter Davis.
Aye.
Pring.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Next, we'll move into our committee reports. Councilmember Schmidt, will you please provide a report from the Finance and Administration Committee?
Thank you. I will. The Finance and Administration Committee met on July 10th and considered 6 items. The meeting minutes were approved under the consent agenda earlier tonight. Revisions to Council Policy 102 related to purchasing and procurement, an ordinance amending the city administrator's expenditure authority, and resolutions of intent to levy a property tax exceeding the revenue neutral rate for the 2025 budget for the city of Mission, Rock Creek Drainage District Number 1, and Rock Creek Drainage District Number 2 will be considered under the regular agenda this evening. Item 7A, revisions to Council Policy 102 related to purchasing and procurement. Staff has had a goal of reviewing, updating, or repealing a number of council policies which are outdated or no longer serve their intended purpose. The city's policies related to purchasing and procurement have not been updated or revised since 2008 and should be updated to more accurately reflect current practices and procedures. Additionally, earlier this year, as staff was working on a number of grant applications, KDOT staff expressed their preference to see an update to the city's purchasing and procurement policies and provided a policy from the city of Merriam as an example. After review and discussion, staff drafted a revised policy which updates City Council Policy 102 and was expanded to also address the requirements for the purchase of professional services contained in City Council Policy 115. If the revised City Council Policy 102 is approved, City Council Policy 115 will be repealed in its entirety. The changes proposed in the updated Council Policy 102 align more closely with current internal processes and best practices. The most noticeable changes from the existing council policies include an increase in department head expenditure authority from $1,000 to $5,000 and an increase in the city administrator's expenditure authority from $10,000 to $30,000. Mayor, I move the City Council approve the updates and changes to City Council Policy 102 and repeal City Council Policy 115C, all pursuant to KSA 12-1770.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any public comment on this item? Seeing none, any council comments or questions? Seeing none, Robin, please call the roll.
Ryder,
Aye.
Hayden Champosi,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Boltinghouse,
Aye.
Loudon,
Aye.
Carpenter Davis.
Aye.
Pring,
Aye.
motion carries.
Moving to item 7B, ordinance amending city administrator's expenditure authority. An ordinance has been drafted for council consideration to amend section 120.140 of the Mission Municipal Code to update the expenditure of the city administrator from $10,000 to $30,000. A summary of expenditure authority for other local managers and administrators has been reviewed. In addition to updating the expenditure authority limits, staff has taken the opportunity to update the code with gender-neutral pronouns as appropriate. During the July 10th, 2024 Finance and Administration Committee discussion was had regarding updating the proposed changes to the code to clearly delineate the expenditure authority was related to budgeted purchases and to more accurately define the times when the city administrators may approve the expenditure of funds and then seek the ratification of the city council. The ordinance has been drafted to incorporate these changes as well. Mayor, I move the city council approve an ordinance amending chapter 120 of the municipal code regarding changes to the city administrator's expenditure authority.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any public comment on this item? Seeing none, is there any council comment or question? Seeing none, Robin, please call the roll.
Loudon,
Aye.
Pring,
Aye.
Ryder,
Aye.
Boltinghouse,
Aye.
Hayden Champosi,
Aye.
Carpenter Davis.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Moving on to the next 3 items, 7C, 7D, and 7E. 7C, resolution of the intent to levy a property tax exceeding the revenue neutral rate for the 2025 budget, City of Mission. 7D, resolution of intent to levy a property tax exceeding the revenue neutral rate for the 2025 budget, Rock Creek Drainage District Number 1, and 7E, resolution of intent to levy a property tax exceeding the revenue neutral rate for the 2025 budget, Rock Creek Drainage District Number 2. Following legislation passed several years ago, if the governing body would like to retain a mill levy which is equal to or greater to the one for the current tax year, notice must be provided to the clerk no later than July 20th. This notice must be provided in the form of a council resolution to ensure Mission can capture the appropriate revenue when planning for the 2025 budget. 3 separate resolutions have been prepared which would provide the county appropriate notice of Mission's intent to exceed the revenue neutral rate for the 2025 budgets for the City of Mission, Rock Creek Drainage District Number 1, and Rock Creek Drainage District Number 2. The resolutions also establish the date and time of the required public hearing, which will be held during the August 21st, 2024 City Council meeting. The mill levy may be reduced following the public hearing in August, but it may not be increased once notice is given to the county by the July 20th deadline. The county will take the information provided by all taxing jurisdictions and send notices to every property owner. A motion is required for each resolution. Therefore, Mayor, I move the City Council approve the resolution for the City of Mission providing notice of the governing body's intent to levy a property tax exceeding the revenue neutral rate for the 2025 budget.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any public comment on this item? Seeing none, any council comments or questions? Seeing none, Robin, please call the roll.
Hayden Chomposi,
Aye.
Loudon,
Aye.
Boltinghouse.
Aye.
Ryard,
Aye.
Carpenter Davis.
Aye.
Kring.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The second resolution. Mayor, I move the City Council approve the resolution for the Rock Creek Drainage District Number 1, providing a notice of the governing body's intent to levy a property tax exceeding the revenue neutral rate for the 2025 budget.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any public comment on this item? Seeing none, any council comments or questions? Seeing none, Robin, please call the roll.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Kring. Aye. Loudon. Aye. Carpenter Davis.
Aye.
Boltinghouse.
Aye.
Hayden Chomposi,
Aye.
Ryard.
Aye.
Motion carries.
The third and final resolution. Mayor, I move the City Council approve the resolution for the Rock Creek Drainage District Number 2, providing notice of the governing body's intent to levy a property tax exceeding the revenue neutral rate for the 2025 budget.
Second.
Motion and a second. Do we have any public comment on this item? Seeing none, any council comments or questions? Seeing none, Robin, please call the roll.
Kring.
Aye.
Carpenter Davis.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Ryard.
Aye.
Loudon. Aye. Hayden Chomposi,
Aye.
Boltinghouse.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And that concludes my report.
All right, great. Councilmember Ryhard, will you please provide a report from the Community Development Committee?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The Community Development Committee also met on July 10th and considered 3 items. The meeting minutes, 2025 CARS Design Interlocal Agreement, and consent to the enlargement of Johnson County Wastewater were approved under the consent agenda earlier tonight. No items will be considered under the regular agenda this evening, and that concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilmember Ryhard. I will be filling in for Mayor Solly until she returns. We do not have any unfinished business tonight, and we will move into new business. We have 2 items of new business this evening. The first is for acceptance of the 2023 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report that was presented earlier tonight. Ms. Smith, can you please provide a report about this item?
Yes, thank you. As you heard from the auditors this evening, we have concluded the audit of our financial statements for the year ending December 31st, 2023. Just as a matter of course, we have typically asked the council to just formally accept that audit at a meeting, and so we would ask for you to do that this evening.
Thank you. I would entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move the City Council accept the audited financial statements for the year ending December 31st, 2023.
Second.
Thank you. It has been moved and seconded. Is there any member of the public who would like to comment on this item? Any member of council who would like to comment on this item?
Just always good to know that that runs so smoothly.
Yeah, agreed. All right, Ms. Folks, would you please call the roll?
Ryard.
Aye.
Loudon.
Aye.
Boltinghouse.
Aye.
Hayden Chomposi,
Aye.
Kring.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Carpenter Davis.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. Our second item of new business tonight is for acceptance of an amended cooperation agreement with Johnson County for participation in the Urban County and Community Development Block Grant Program. Ms. Folks, could you please provide a report about this item?
Yes, thank you. Since 2003, Mission has participated in this cooperation agreement with the county to be a part of both the Johnson County Urban County for participation in the Community Development Block Grant and the Home Investment Partnerships programs. Those programs are annual grant programs that are given out on a formula basis to states, cities, and counties to develop viable urban communities. While Mission does not typically take part in the grant funding, we would like to continue to be a part of the program to have those opportunities available to us if necessary. And the county has asked us to sign an amendment to our agreement to meet some to be compliant with some HUD requirements that have previously not been requirements. So those HUD requirements are specific instructions for termination of the cooperation agreement if the city wishes to be excluded, references to the implementing code of federal regulation citations, and the incorporation of Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, Title II of the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1974, the Age Discrimination Act of 1975, and Section 3 of the Housing and Urban Development Act of 1968. We originally, as far as I could tell, signed up for this program in 2003. And the original agreement we signed does have a 3-year auto renewal policy, so we've not had to come forward to you with this item in the past unless there was an amendment, which is the case tonight. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Yes, sorry, thank you. Is there any member of the public who would like to comment on this issue? And then, let's see, seeing none, council discussion? Comments or questions for Robin?
I don't have a question so much as a comment that I think it's always a good idea to make sure that we have affordable housing, especially for our more vulnerable populations. And so I think this is definitely something to support, and I'm glad to see it.
Great. Any other comments or questions? I would now entertain a motion to approve the amendment to the cooperation agreement between Johnson County and the City of Mission for participation in the Urban County Community Development Block Grant, Home Investment Partnership, and Emergency Solutions Grant Programs.
Mayor, I move the City Council approve the amendment to the cooperation agreement between Johnson County and the City of Mission for participation in the Urban County Community Development Block Grant, Home Investment Partnership, and Emergency Solutions Grant Programs.
Second.
Motion is second. Any further discussion? Robin, please call the roll.
Aye.
Aye.
Loudon.
Aye.
Boltinghouse.
Aye.
Hayden Chomposi.
Aye.
Green.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Carpenter Davis.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. There being no further business items for consideration, we will move into comments from the City Council. This is an opportunity for comments from our council members. Does anyone on the council have something they'd like to share this month? Yeah, Brian?
Yes, our Ward 3 quarterly meeting is tomorrow, Thursday, at Sylvester Powell at 7 o'clock. So as always, really excited to see anyone from the ward who wants to come and learn about what's going on in the city or provide any input.
Any other comments?
I would just say that the family night was really outstanding, and all the staff that worked on that and the coordination with police and fire. It's such a great community event and makes Mission proud every time. And I want to thank everyone for all the time and effort that went into this.
Brian, did I see your hand for a second comment?
It's a question, not a comment.
Okay.
That is also okay.
Sure.
This is a question for the chief, actually. So with the school opening back up, didn't know if there were any plans to just look at or increase just traffic enforcement around those school zones, since I think maybe a lot of people may just not have been used to them just not operating for a while.
School zones are always places that you can find officers in the mornings and afternoons.
Great.
Yeah, and also related to Rushton, some of us got to tour the new building this week, and that was very exciting and looking forward to the new school opening.
It's so beautiful. So
All right, seeing no other hands, we'll move into our council committee liaison reports. These reports allow the entire governing body to stay up to date with the various activities of our boards, commissions, and committees versus council members Boltinghouse and Loudon for Sustainability Commission.
I unfortunately was unable to make the previous Sustainability Commission meeting, so I will pass it to Councilmember Loudon.
I was sick that day.
No problem. Justin, do you have anything you want to share?
It was a relatively short agenda with mostly housekeeping items, so
Okay.
but not the too terribly long.
All right. Next, we have council members Crane and Schmidt for the Parks, Recreation and Tree Commission.
Yeah, a couple items. The ribbon cutting for Waterworks is on Tuesday, August 6th at I believe 4 p.m. I occasionally get these numbers wrong, so thank you for confirming. There will be a Taste of Aloha is going to be there from 4:45 till 4:45. So should be a good time to see a lot of the improvements that have been made in the park.
Great.
Just as it relates to the park and to address Cheryl's comments on a positive level, I want to tell you, that is so well orchestrated. And if we didn't have Jenny, I'm telling you, Jenny is at the forefront of everything, whether it be introducing people or telling people to back up, or, I mean, she is all over it and she enjoys it so much. It shows how much pride the people that work on these events have in this city, and we owe it to the staff. So thanks so much.
I know I couldn't even catch her to say hi because she was running from spot to spot at the picnic, so. All right, next, we'll have an update from council members Reichert and Chosey on the Mission Magazine.
Yes, thank you. We met last Wednesday, had a very lively conversation as we always do. But we had a kind of breakdown, like review of the last issue, kind of going over things that we could improve or work on. The next issue I think has been, I think you announced the last meeting. It's going to be women-owned businesses, women-led businesses and mission, as well as kind of like touching on governmental, like women in government as well. I have a lot of really cool ideas coming out of that I'm pretty excited to kind of hopefully come to fruition. But as always, wonderful meeting with lots of great feedback. So yeah.
Great. And yeah.
I really enjoyed the story, how it turned out in the magazine. I actually got a text from former council member Kristen Inman saying that the baseball player that I mentioned in that article is the uncle of her husband. So we kind of had that small world connection and never knew. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Trent, you're referencing the article talking about yours truly.
Yeah, my baseball card collection.
Yeah, that was great. All right. And finally, we have Councilmember Carpenter Davis with the Family Adoption Committee.
Well, thank you, Mayor. Our meeting is next week and we're going to have our meeting of the committee. I really appreciate you all having the time, giving me the time last week to talk about the family adoption program and its history. And then also really appreciate the article in the Post, because that started a conversation altogether too. And it's very positive. So I'm looking forward to our continued conversation and what's next. Thank you.
Great. Let's see. Laura, do you have any items you want to share with us tonight?
I have a couple of things and then we'll ask Justin to touch base on the interim financial reports. And do you have any new? Yes. Okay. Just a reminder that next Wednesday at 6 p.m. we will have a work session on short-term rentals. And we expect that we will then be advancing that as an action item on your August committee agenda. So packets will go out this Friday. Also, I just saw something from our friends at Tyler's House. We always like to support the work they're doing. So they're having a Dog Days of Summer event this coming Saturday, which is a fundraiser for them to take pet photos. And I couldn't find it. I don't know whether there's a social media post. We'll try to find it and share it. There's a QR code and you can sign up for reservations from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And you can reserve your spot online. And then they will be hosting an art mart on August 3rd. And I think that's all I have. You guys can arm wrestle.
For the June report, I'll just kind of say, I think this is kind of the first real time during the fiscal year where you can really start to get an idea, because we're kind of halfway through. But honestly, I mean, expenditures are looking good. We're trailing a little below 50%, so that's good news. I will note on revenues, there was a quirky, I don't know if anyone caught it, but we had a substantially lowered use tax distribution, and we weren't the only jurisdiction in the county that had that happen. The county themselves did, which is the money that comes from the state. I don't think we got a very definitive answer as to what exactly happened. But if you see that big discrepancy there on the chart, they fully expect that to get remedied next month. So that should catch us back up. So assuming that comes through, then revenues are back on track. And I think I would say just the overall comment with that between sales and use tax, the robust growth we had been seeing for the last year or so is starting to really kind of slow down. And that's why, you know, Laura was presenting earlier, we're really forecasting more modest growth. And you can even see that in the current year. It's not just going gangbusters like it was previously. So with that, I'd stand for any questions on the June financial report.
Questions for Justin, anyone? No, thank you. Robin, you have business updates? All right.
I have some business updates. I also found the Tyler's House Dog Days of Summer fundraiser, so I will email that to you all if you are in need to participate. I think if you do, please share your photos with us because I really want to see them. We have 5 new businesses for me to announce. The first is Green Clean Maid Services at 5940 Reeds Road. Good Guys Moving and Storage at 5845 Horton, Suite 1. DS Counseling at 6299 Knoll. WF Property Group at 5950 Row, Suite 100, and Magnolia Childcare, 6032 West 50th Street. Happy to answer any questions about any of those.
Business questions for Robin? Good. Thanks,
you.
Robin. All right, we do have the need for an executive session this evening, so the governing body will adjourn to executive session for the allotted time. When that time has expired, the governing body will reconvene to do one of the following. 1, extend the time required for discussion and return to executive session, or 2, continue with our city council meeting. As a reminder to the public, the governing body may take no binding action in an executive session. I would entertain a motion.
Mayor, I move the city council recess to executive session in accordance with KSA 75-4319 B2 and B6 for consultation with an attorney and preliminary discussions relating to the acquisition of real property. Also attending the executive session will be City Attorney Dave Martin, City Attorney John Gilchrist, and City Administrator Laura Smith. The open meeting will resume in the council chambers at 8:02 p.m. in 20 minutes.
Second.
Motion a second, any discussion? Robin, please call a roll.
Bryan.
Aye.
Loudon. Aye. Boltinghouse.
Aye.
Hayden Chomposi.
Aye.
Green. Aye. Schmidt.
Aye.
Carpenter Davis.
Aye.
Motion carries.
All right. All right, it is 8:02 PM and we have returned from executive session to continue with our city council meeting. And with there being no further business, before we adjourn tonight, I want to share with the public that the video from this meeting will be available through a link on our website at missionks.org. And I would entertain a motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. We are adjourned.